Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the May 27th, 2020 Policy Committee meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and we'll begin with approval of the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, first up is professional and staff development, proposed new policy.
Do we have minutes first? No?
You know what? We approval of Michelle?
I think we should. Are they included in the packet?
You know what? I'm looking at a printed copy. I didn't see a date, so.
We can do it next time. It doesn't matter. That's fine.
If my printed agenda did not show a date, so I was thinking that we didn't have any, but I'm working off my phone and my computer here, so someone speak up if we have a date.
April 22nd.
Okay, thank you.
I move that we approve the open session minutes from April 22nd.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, I don't know why that's not showing up on my phone, but we'll just move along. Okay, so professional and staff development, proposed new policy. We'll try that one again.
Good morning. This policy came before you at the April 22nd meeting, and it went to the board at the May board meeting. There's been no recommended changes since that time, and we would recommend that this go to the full board for approval at the June 2nd meeting.
Are there any questions or comments?
I move that we send the professional and staff development proposed new policy to the full board for second review.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and let's do the next three policies. Let's just do it all together unless someone has an objection. Policy 3-5, drug-free workplace.
Okay, 3-5, that also went to the board at the June 2nd meeting. It was before you on the April 22nd policy committee, and I've received no recommendations for changes since that went to the board.
Okay, are there any questions or comments about that one? Okay, hearing none, let's move on to policy 4-5, immunization and health requirements for school admission.
Okay, that one went to, it was before you on April 22nd, went to the board on June 2nd, and I've received no recommended changes since that time. And again, staff would ask for this to go to the board on June 2nd for approval.
Any questions or comments about this one? No? Okay, policy 5-8, parent involvement.
Okay, like the last three, this one was before you on April 22nd, went to the board on June 2nd, and I've not received any requests for changes since that time. And staff would ask for it to go to the board for approval on June 2nd.
Any comments, questions? Okay, so I would like a motion and a second to take policy 3-5, 4-5, and 5-8 to the board at the June meeting for second review.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. Thank you. So policies for first review, we'll begin with policy 2-12, insurance.
Yes, good morning. This policy, the revisions in this are based on some statutory requirements that we did not have in the policy. But given the pandemic and the fact that our social workers may be doing more visits to homes, having to transport people, the things have changed. And the law says that if we have them transport people in their own vehicles, we have to either provide them with a vehicle ourselves or address any coverage increases that they may have. So we added that to the policy because it was omitted from our previous one. That we recommended that. And staff would ask this go to the board for review at the June 2nd meeting.
Okay, does anyone have any questions or comments about insurance?
Michelle, are social workers, are they the only ones that are allowed to do this?
They're not the only ones that are allowed necessarily. We dissuade staff from taking students in their private cars absent exigent circumstances, and it usually should be more than one person or an administrator. Social workers, due to the nature of their job, there's a special provision in statute that says if we ask them to do it, we have to address either the vehicle or the coverage. And so they're the only one that have this provision in statute.
So if a administrator were to take a student home or somewhere in their personal car, we would not have coverage for that?
Their coverage would be the primary, and then the district's coverage would be a secondary. So they would be covered. It's just we don't pay for any riders on their insurance. Whereas with a social worker, if we require them to drive, they would have a rider on their insurance.
Okay, thank you.
My question is, we use the word school social workers. They are not the employees of the county. These are our employees.
Correct. These are our employees.
Okay, good, because I was wondering how we could insure somebody who wasn't our employee. Okay, thank you.
I have a question. So would this be notated within their job description as well?
Yes, if we were going to require them to do it, it'd also be in their job description.
Are there any administration guidelines on an employee transporting someone in their own vehicle? For example, do we suggest that the student or passenger ride in the back seat as opposed to the front seat, or
we don't have any official administrative guidelines. No, we can certainly look into those. We have given some advice to our administrators about that teachers or other staff should not drive students in their vehicles without notifying the principal and seeking permission from the principal and the parent, that they should ride in the back seat, that there should be an additional adult in the car if at all possible, those kinds of things to, ensure safety of the student, ensure, safety of staff at all times. But we can really work on formal administrative guidelines on that.
do we try to get the parents' permission in writing or text or email instead of verbal? Like, what are the recommendations there? It just seems like you'd put yourself in a bad situation.
Yeah, obviously in writing is the best. Some of the situations we have, though, where this happens is when, the end of a practice and a parent doesn't come to pick up their student and the coach tries to reach the parent for an hour or two and then finally ends up with the administrator's permission throwing the kid in the car and taking him home. So, if we can get permission, we do. Unfortunately, these are usually exigent circumstances where we're ending up with verbal permission at best.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments about policy 2-12? If not, we'll move to 2-14 payroll deductions.
Okay, this one was part of our regular review, and we realized we did not have a provision. While we do have it under the authority of law, we didn't have anything in here about allowing deductions to recoup overpayments that the district may have made in somebody's wages or an advancement of a bonus, a stipend or something. And so staff is recommending this go into policy and that it go before the board at the June meeting for first review.
Any questions or comments, board, on the language of this one? Hearing none, we'll go to 2-17 ethics and purchasing function.
This one is again as part of our regular review. And trying to think if there's and then we just added some language that had come from other policies to ensure that we were compliant with the expectations. We had some of this language in other policies, but it wasn't all in one place. So I worked with Shauna and her team to clarify and put everything together where it should be.
Okay, any comments, questions? Policy 3-2B, certified employees, contracts, dismissal and non-renewal and resignation.
Okay, as I was going through the regular review of policies, we realized that we had the language in this policy for the dismissal or the non-renewal, I apologize, non-renewal of a teaching contract. We did not have the same language for administrators. It's not the same process. So we wanted it to be clear, excuse me, in the policy, what the process is in the event that there is a recommended non-renewal for a principal or an administrator as defined by statute. Also, we clarified the way the policy was reading that the board would notify the teacher if a teacher requested an appeal of their recommendation of the superintendent for non-renewal. Most districts and the state, the School Boards Association, CMS, Wake, a bunch of other counties have that the board and vice chair on behalf of the board review these. And that would help us to make things more timely because we don't have a huge time frame for making these decisions and didn't want to, we potentially have less than a week depending on when the person asks for the appeal. So it's hard to convene a full board meeting at that time. So that's why we're recommending that revision as well.
Okay.
And we would like this to go to the full board for a first review at the June meeting.
Okay. Okay, any questions or comments for 3-2B? Hearing none, we will go to policy 3-5, use of tobacco products.
Okay, as I was going through the regular review on this one, I reached out to Jared and his team about the different programs that are listed beginning on page 2 of 3. And I was confused about, especially the alternative to suspension program, because we have an alternative to suspension process whereby you can be assigned to South Providence, but it's not a tobacco education program. So it didn't make sense to me why we had the same name. So when I reached out to Jared and his team about that and a teen smoking cessation, not on tobacco program, Lisa Callahan in his office, who handles these programs, said we don't have those anymore. So I removed those. Everything is handled under our tobacco education program. And as you can see, the policy initially read that it was a 1-hour program, but because they have folded these other programs into the tobacco education program, it's no longer a 1-hour program. So we deleted that language as well. So essentially the changes were to comply with our practice. And we would ask that this go to the board for review in June.
Okay, any comments or questions from the board? Okay, then I would accept a motion to send policy 2-12, 2-14, 2-17, 3-2B, and 3-5A to the June board meeting for first review.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, we'll take care of that. Okay, action items taken to the full board for second review will be professional and staff development, proposed new policy, policy 3-5, drug-free workplace, 4-5, immunization and health requirements for school admission, policy 5-8, parent involvement. So those will be second review. For first review, policy 2-12, 2-14, 2-17, 3-2B, and 3-5A. Okay, anything else? Okay. Our next meeting date will be June 24th at 9 o'clock on Zoom. Any other questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good job, Policy Committee. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you,
you all.
you too.
Thank you.